is July 23rd, 23. Believe it or not, they're still off in the distance screaming crazy crap. It's like, I went out last night. I had dinner with my brother. People that were in there, we all know none of this is funny. Nobody's gonna say a word. Friday, I was up in Hartville. A lady was talking to one of my clients' neighbors. It's disgusting what's going on. The word is disgusting. She's an informant. I looked her up. She said she's due that money, and of course they can never stop it. And it's meant for her to take care of herself, and it makes me sick that she's out cleaning houses trying to get ends meet. And she's due that money, and they can't stop it no matter what. And then she said there's a recording of that agent admitting he knew what they were up to before. And he didn't arrest him on the first day. And he was too. Okay? And we found out that that agent knew she was being drugged, beat, and raped. And he didn't arrest him on the first day. Okay? And we found out that agents let people get killed, and he still didn't stop it. Okay? And she's telling the neighbors of my clients in Hartville. Okay? Well, then I went up in Akron, I was working, and some guy was out there yelling, it's him embezzling. Well, that's what they said December 2nd, 22. And Wendy's in Alliance, my phone's tapped, it knew. Is that the one that church tried to have killed? He said, yes. Heard she didn't get any money on this. He said, no, it's that one guy from the case stealing every dime since the first day for herself. That's the only thing going on. It's him stealing. Okay? That's where Friday up in Akron, it's him embezzling. It is. They didn't arrest him. See, where in 2017 we had $6,000 disappear from the safe, and then my car started getting scratched up, so we got a security system. And Dave kept leaving to work early. I tried to get Dixie to fall, and thank God she didn't. One night, I found him crying in the changing room. I can't. Well, I got up, he's crying. He's talking to somebody on the phone. I said, who are you talking to? No one. He grabs and he squeezes me and pushes his head into my body. Well, I help him back to bed. He cries himself to sleep. I get up and I call that number. Lady answers from the bar. Just do it. He's like, what are you doing? I said, nothing. And I got back in bed. I thought, what on earth? Well, we had an old 1938 house with plexiglass on the basement windows. And I had tarred around them to winterize it. We're into fall now. And I was 17. And he, before that, he had called me, Karen, I'm in trouble. And he was at work. I said, why? He said, I crashed a machine. I said, what happens? He's like, I have to get a drug test. And I said, so? We're supposed to be Christians. We don't do drugs. And here I got caught with pot in his system, got suspended for a week. Okay? He told Daniel, my grandson, enjoy Grandma now, you won't have one after Christmas. It scared that baby till I had to call other people to convince him I wasn't going to go anywhere. Okay? Well, one day I had tarred around the house to winterize it. I popped up the old hose with a rake because I couldn't get it off. And the plexiglass got sealed tight where they could have pulled it off, pushed the window open, slid down and turned the electric off and came up and killed me. Instead, when he got home, we heard pop, pop, bang, bang, the puppies screaming in their kennels in the basement. He went and go check, and I kept looking out the windows. And they finally calmed down, and the security system didn't go off, so I climbed back in bed. And I thought, what on earth? And I finally fell asleep, and we got up. The tennis pulled down, the plexiglass is cracked, not broke. We called the Perry Police in Massillon. They said it makes no sense. You have all these upstairs windows. Why would they go to the basement? Oh, they knew what the security system was. That cop was all over Dave. And he kept saying more and more stuff to incriminate himself, and I'm standing there with my mouth open. Okay? Well, then my oldest son, John, his kids wanted bikes for Christmas, and his ex-wife, Melissa, while they were still married, her family was in town. So took the bikes over there, and they went home and got permission to leave them in the kitchen. We came back that later that day or the next day and asked them if they liked them. And they said, "Why would we thank you?" Another woman in the church bought them for us. And then they made fun of Dave for having pot in his system. Okay, come March, our house is up for sale. Bill German wasn't always in the area, so he let me show it. I told Dave, I said, I got over an hour and a half. I'm going to go out to Bella and get a coffee, get a ride. He's like, let me know when you're ready. I said, well, okay. Give me about 10 minutes. I said, hey, I'm getting ready to leave. He's like, Karen, I want you to go to Lincoln. I said, Dave, I always go down to Bailey. You go to Bailey behind Watson, Bailey over to Jackson, or Bailey down to Genoa. You have to cross 12th Street at one point. He's like, I said, go Lincoln Way. Well, why would you want to go up, down, and around? And he started screaming at me. I said, fine, I'll go Lincoln Way. I lived there 25 years. I can jump Lincoln Way. I go and it's open. It's like, sweet. So I jump 5 lanes and there's a car sitting at Davis. It jumps 5 lanes and it gets right behind me. I thought, that's weird. Okay. So I move over, it moves over. I go to turn down at Genoa. He goes to turn and it clicks in my head. They knew where the security system was. I just got a bigger black SUV, and I thought, I'm going to turn and go back to Bailey. If he follows me, I'm going to find somebody home or call the police. I had got stuck on Genoa and Bailey. I had my foot on the brake and the wheel turned left. One car goes by, 2. He hits me. The officer said he had to do over 45, and then when he clipped you on the side, he would have rolled you if you would have had your foot on the brake. He got stuck between me and a building, couldn't get away. The period police is like, I know he's up to something, I can't let you go home. So he had me call Dave and have him come home. Well, my daughter-in-law Jen was friends with Kaylee, this one girl that her brother's married to one of the minister's daughters. She's like, well, you know Savannah. I said, I know of her, but I don't know her. So what do you mean you don't know her? I said, why would I know her parents? I never had problems with it. What do you mean you don't know her? They look at me like I'm stupid. Her parents quit going to that church years before that. And she was real, years and years and years. I know of her, but I don't know her. See her sit with her parents, don't have a problem with it. And she's like, well, you know, her ex-boyfriend was big in drugs. I said, what does that have to do with anything? She looks at me like I'm stupid. So I looked her up and it was her Facebook friend. Okay, I didn't know there was a head in my life. I go to help Terry clean her apartment. I had bought her totes, spent hours cleaning that apartment. She walks me out. A white van pulls up. Side door goes open. Now I was already loading extra boxes in my car. Had the trunk open. The white van pulls up. Side door goes open. White man, tall black hair, jeans, grayish white hoodie, white tennis shoes, black hair. I got her. His hood went up over his head. I'm like, go back in the building. She literally picks up her walker at that point, runs. I already had him in my hand. I just threw him in the car, slammed the trunk, ran around, looked over, made sure she got in the building, looked back. He's still coming at me. I jump in, I start my car, I throw it in reverse. He hit the back of my car. She got away, and he lunged around the building while she's standing at the entrance of the doorway, and I peeled off, and it chased me for a while. All right. I always said March when I was talking today. We put our house up for sale in March, but we didn't move out. We didn't sign the paperwork for both houses till May 25th, I think, of 18. Well, we didn't clean out the garage, and I didn't want to pay like $1,000 for a pod or a semi to move our stuff. So I found a storage unit in Green for like $175. Started unloading the house a couple weeks before that, and putting our stuff at Danny's. And because it was so much cheaper and we could slowly move in. Okay. So, uh, May should be 17th or 18th of 18. I tried to get a hold of Melissa, my one ex-daughter-in-law, and John calls me. She's leaving me again. Well, they break up and got back together so many times. We always stayed out of it because this is their marriage. He's like, don't say anything. I said, well, we got your stuff. He's like, well, just drop it off. Well, I see her packing through the window. She comes out, hi. Kids come out, hi. And they said, she said, what are you doing here? I said, well, we got John's stuff. We're going to be signing paperwork in the next week. We have to get everything out of the garage. And we're talking about the new house. We're at the end of the vehicle. Just a moment in time. Dave puts it against the house and we leave. Well, May 20th, it should be like the 25th or 26th of 18, we signed paperwork for both houses. We were lucky on the first day. Okay. The second day, we go down to Danny's late in the evening and get a load. And I wanted to get curtains for the basement to make it look lifted. So we go in there, and John, my oldest, that was his wife. Okay. Him and his kids are in Walmart, Maslin. They come running at us. Grandma, Papa, what you doing here? Because we're little. It's like we're buying curtains for the basement. What are you doing? I don't know. And we just pass each other in time. And we go to leave, and Dave's like, I'll follow you. Well, there's a truck and trailer that way. I don't have to worry about something falling out at me, and I didn't care. There was a white car out there parked by our car, and it started up when we went to get in the vehicle. Well, I pulled out in front of me, and then I pull out, and then Dave. And on the narrow way back from Maslin, all of a sudden, it turns this way, completely sideways, blocks the whole road. I'm like, Dave, I can't get around this guy. Then out steps jeans, cowboy boots, tall white man, black hair. And it's the same profile as I got. I said, Dave, I can't get around him. He starts reaching back in like he's going to grab something. And I'm like, Dave, I'm getting caught. And I start throwing a reverse. Where did you go? I turned down a side road. What do you mean you turned down a side road? And I'm pouring it backwards. And I look up, and by the grace of God, a white car starts coming towards us. He steps back in, straightens up his car, and peels out of there. I straighten up my car. I scream, and I take off. Where are you? He didn't catch up to me for 12 miles. He left with Dixie, my other daughter-in-law. That he knew I was getting carjacked, and he left me. The third day, he's so mad. I'm not dead. We went down and got a load from the storage unit. He acts like he can't pick up a little board, and I'm like, come on now, I can pick that up. So he picks it up, and he hits it in the face and breaks my teeth. Okay, and I'm spewing teeth and blood. I'm like, why? You're not to smart off to me. And he runs and gets in my vehicle and takes off. Okay, he admits he did it. Okay, the 6th day, we're down at the storage unit. We come home and our doors kicked into the wall. Don't report it. Another realtor passed out keys, nothing is missing. Well, we took the key out the lockbox. The first day, that's how they let us in. And they don't pass out keys. He had hired a drug cartel to drug me up and frame me because I didn't die. Okay? The next week, I'm out trying to mow the lawn. I almost pass out. I have giant bruises all over me. My heart's racing through my neck. I literally almost pass out. And I go in and get a cold can of soft drink, sitting on the front porch, holding it against my neck. What's wrong with me? I finally slow my breathing down enough. I try to mow the lawn again. I almost pass out. And the neighbor comes running. I'm a nurse. The house before ours. He's like, can I help you? I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'll mow the lawn for you. I said, I don't have money to pay you. He's like, neighbors don't pay each other. I said, I feel bad. He's like, neighbors don't pay each other. And he's like, I got a grown son. If you see mother, don't think anything of it. Da 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 da. Okay? Here they were already drugging me and beating me by the second week. It kept happening all summer long. I went to all my family physicians for migraine, dizzy, heart racing, almost passing out, and a severe personal infection. They had to give me pills in it, creams, and here I'm being drug beaten, raped, and human trafficked out of my own house. And I lost 18 pounds before I called the FBI. September 3rd through 6th, I was out. The last thing that had to be done was the flower beds. He's out there screaming. He wants them done. We were on vacation. I'm like, Dave, it's hot. Just drop the mulch. He's like, I'd rather have Katie brothers than you. I'm like, you want another woman? I'll take my things and leave. He's like, you're not allowed to leave. Jack and I had this plan since March. I said, you got something planned. I'll just give up everything willingly. He's like, Jack said you wouldn't give up everything willingly. We have to do it this way. Well, he's crazy. So I started I started looking for a job, and I got hired at Advanced America. Annie, the district did hire me. She didn't know what store to put me in. So she sent me up to Darrow Road in Twinsburg. And on the way up there, she's like, Karen, I'd rather meet Streetsboro manager. So I go and I have my meeting, and I get home, and I'm talking to my mom. Now, we only had 3 security cameras in my at my house, and they were only outside. We had one on the side yard, one on the front porch, and one on the back porch. We only started laying an extra camera on the boat and plugging it in the garage the last of September, 1st of October, because people were pulling in and staring at me and leaving. Okay? There's no way you can see me at the end of the driveway, and there's nothing to trace me in my phone. I'm talking to my mom. It's raining. I'm trying to get off the phone. He calls in, Karen, why won't you go in the house? I said, Dave, you home? He's like, I'm at work. Why won't you go in the house? I said, Dave, that's not funny. I'm 10.6 miles out of town, in the middle of the woods, in the middle of countryside. There's no one around. That's not funny. I know you're at the end of the driveway. Why wouldn't you think of somewhere else? Okay. Annie calls in, beeps in. What's your problem? I said, what do you mean, what's my problem? You were mean to Pam. I said, who's Pam? He sent me to the store. She tells me if I hang up and I call my mom back, she's like, he's up to something. I said, I know. So I got dressed nice the next day, and I wanted to meet the person that cost me that job. I go in, she's sitting in there with the assistant manager. She's like, well, you know Karen. He said, I never met this woman before in my life. I looked at her. I said, she sent me to the store. She looks at him and said, but what you said? I said, I know what I said, and it was never this woman. I've never seen her before. I said, by the way, I'm Karen. It's nice to meet you. I looked at her. I said, she sent me to the other store. And she looked at me and said, what you said? I said, I know what I said, and it wasn't her. She tries to give me my job back, and it's too weird. Okay? That's September 17 or 18 of 18. Okay. By like the 19th or 20th, Sarah from Zales, her old manager, had went to work. Older blonde lady had went to work with Katie from Zales to Ashcroft and Oak, and her old co-worker, a heavier set girl with brown hair and brown eyes. And I had known those ladies for years, and they all 3 came up to me and Dave in the mall that Katie had said had been in her church trying to kill me, and they had a permanent plan to do away with me and teach me a lesson I'd never forget. Okay? You need to call the police. She can't say she's the one trying to have you killed. And her and her church. We're scared for you. And they set up in front of Dave, all 3 of them. Okay? Well, September 19th or 20th, I'm talking to Terry on the phone. She asked me down to prayer. I felt tight. All this happening. I said, I think I'll pass. Well, I'll step in for prayer for you. I said, well, I really appreciate that. She said, Karen, I have you on speakers. Her counters, like kitchen counters, like 5 feet from her front door. I'm watching this lady's kid for $10 an hour. And I'm cleaning up, and she's talking about things, and she said, I hear knocking. She's like, Karen, I'll let you go. I almost hung up, and I thought, is that the girl that cost me that job? Well, listen for a second. She still don't know I know. Trust me, I never forgot. I hear, guess who I was on the phone with? You're kidding. I almost tricked her into coming down to prayer where those 2 guys would show up and take care of her. It's not like anybody in the church would ever help her. And they paid people to know where she's at. You know I could have used the money. The other girl insults Kaylee. Well, that's about as bad as Kaylee because she used another minister because Keith charged too much money. Well, you know who was in that meeting to hire those two men to kill her? It was Keith Bishop, Strange, and Ron, and they took up $25,000 to have her murdered because Ron wants her dead because she got 12 years. Kid died. I gasped. Dave, September 20th or 21st of 18, holds me down at 3 o'clock in the morning, rubbing my head, kissing me, squeezing me. I love you, but I love her more. I'm so sorry, Karen. I hired a man to slit your throat, stab you in the heart. You'll bleed out, Karen. But I got a man to put a bullet in you and run. For 30 minutes in the cold, dark night, he held me down. And then he got up and went to work. He was very much awake. I was even turning him on. I was afraid if I moved, he'd kill me with his own period. I'm freaking out. September 21st, 18. I'm walking around trying to go, how stupid was I? It's been them the whole time. I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I don't know anybody. Okay? He calls me, where are you at? I'm buying something for dinner. I got a phone call to make. Don't call. He won't answer. I look up, they're giving flu shots. It's like it's not even safe for me to be here anymore. I better get it because our town where I'll end up. I got it and I got dizzy and I sat down on the bench and I'm just like, just breathe. You're safe, just breathe. I hear the voice. I can't believe she's here. And it's the same one as I got her and she got away. I'm like, oh my God, he's here. I stand up, I turn my card, he comes up behind me. I'd stab you right here now if it wasn't for that security guard. The Pizza Hut lady's like, are you going to stab her and get it over with? He said, I won't make it out for that security guard. I almost passed out. I had to catch my breath because I was already dizzy. Turned my cart right into the bank. I want to open an account. I figured if I ran for it, it'd be like across the parking lot, it just chased me down. And the Pizza Hut lady walks up to the male banker next to me. I get paid to watch her. He's like, lady, stay out of it. No, I get paid to watch her. He's like, lady, I mean it. It won't be worth it in the end. You better stay out of this. And he's yelling at her. And I look over and she walks off. And then the guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, threatened to knife me, walked off too. And my phone instinct only called. It was Dave calling. I put him on hold. I won't let him know. He just did it. They got my account open real fast, and that banker's still rambling about it. There was a group of people leaving, and I got in the middle of them. And I got out my car, and it freaked out, and I drove 20 miles down to the other Walmart. I got out to get gas, and an African-American lady spit in my face. Her and her white boyfriend were harassing me. I went in Walmart. There's another guy with black hair, black eyes, and eagle tattoo. Looked at me and went, what a shame. He kept staring at me like a dead animal, and I got away from that break. I got home. Dave's in the driveway. Come with me to the end of the driveway. My girlfriend's rich and powerful, and her family owns the place. You won't be able to withstand. I looked at him. I said, it's not a communist country. Nobody owns the place. I took a day, and I prayed. I poured my heart out to God. It's by the grace of God am I still alive. They're here. If I don't pick up that phone, I'll die. And once I pick up that phone, I can never forgive him for anything. And I can never go back. But if I don't pick up that phone, I'll die. And I called the FBI hotline around September 23rd, 18. Gave them about 70-80% of that stuff. I'll have an agent call you back. The next day I wake up, and I couldn't wake up all the way. I kept crying in my sleep, rivers of tears. I woke up, and I kept saying, I can't. And the phone's ringing. Who's that? I can't. And go back to sleep. Went to voicemail, got up, listened to it. Same thing. I can't. Roll back over to sleep. Second day, I'm not much better. Third day, I made myself get up, and where that agent left a message, it's like I gotta call that guy back. I'm sitting on the front porch holding my head. It's like I feel like I'm drunk. And I don't drink. What's wrong with me? They're drugging the hell out of me. That was what was wrong. And I gotta call that guy back. I get air in my face. I'm too afraid to leave. They're here. So I start mowing the lawn so I could pace up and down the property and nobody would think anything of it. Halfway through, I thought of Sarah. I thought, well, I already gave her information to that hotline. So I call her, of course, Karen, I'm scared for you. It's getting darker and scarier the way she talks about it. So I got changed, I went out, got her a card, but that agent's number. Before we went to church, I talked Dave into going down to the mall. We dropped it off. We went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Pamergante says, my God, I had an FBI agent at my office. He's right there. I walk off, and some ladies walk up to me. He knows she's being drugged, beaten, raped. I have bruises. I have been throwing up in a severe, swollen personal infection all summer long. My heart sank down, and my stomach is out. What's going on? I go in and sit down. He said he knew she's being drugged, beaten, raped, and they followed me in and said if she was going to be faking, she was sick and faking, she got well. He didn't care what they did to her. Dave comes in, let's go. We get out in the truck, and he's threatening my life and swinging at me in the truck till I was stopped out on the highway. I ran from him. The next day, I called that agent back. I told him someone told on me. He called me a liar. It was verified by officers that was him. Okay. I told him what happened at Giant Eagle. Was there a camera above the bench? I don't know. I said he tried to kidnap me before, you liar. Terry let me take her with her permission. He took my house manager, Marlisa's niece, and killed my other coworker, Lori's family member. He's a serial killer in this area. Was there a camera above that bench? I don't know. You don't know? You better say you're lying or I'll arrest you. Fine, whatever. Why would the FBI help a person like you? Because they're going to kill me. So. And some guy off in the distance said, well, we could always go back to Pete's tapes of you being weird with yourself. I said, what's going on? He said, stop, she don't know. And they started giggling. He acknowledged Pete in that shower scene. She doesn't know. Why didn't I know? Because it's a shower scene in the other room. And he knew I didn't know. Cut it out. It's not funny. And it's telling him on a recorded line. We're on a recorded line. And then he lists me informant with immunity and money for the rest of my life. And then threatened me if I told. What part of someone already told? And you had contact with Pete. And my ex-husband Dave told Danny he had hired retired George Pete on his own to frame me. And he's seen that agent up at that church and he talked to him. Cops verified it was him before I called him back. Then I got to him with their stalking tapes and he was to arrest him the first day. Okay? And then the case started. The next day an officer showed up and said he just got back from talking to Dave about the threats on my life. And I thought, what about that agent up at the church? See, that's where June 7th, 23, Walmart 62, Lighthouse Tabernacle members were mocking FBI agent John. June 7th, 23, Walmart 62, 9 to noon. FBI agent John fell for the stunt the tapes before. Oh, come on now. They were only a stunt. You're kidding. That FBI agent actually fell for that? It was just a stunt. John actually fell for it. Come on now. It was just a stunt. He actually fell for the tapes before. You're kidding. Ha, 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 ha. Calling him out, laughing at him. They photoshopped a shower scene in the other room, March 2nd to 3rd, 21, 8 to 10:30 at night. My car's bugged. They admitted they put two clips together, put me in a porn. It's not her, it's them. And then what you're describing as showering? Ha, ha, ha. She figured out what they did. May 12th, 22, Bubba's restaurant. I knew my car's bugged. They found 4 or 6 men found a tape of them admitting a shower scene in the other room, because what you're describing is showering. Ha ha ha, she figured out what they did. May 26, 22, my phone's tapped it. No, the shower scene was done on purpose. That's where November 18, 22, Walmart 62, 2 to 6 p.m. By the hair salon, Eric comes in screaming. All the tapes before were me and not her. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to do it. My idea to say it for all these people turn on, they fell for ha! ID November 24th, 22 at Mercy Medical, the nurse to the Lady Canton officer. We all heard that Eric make fun of us for falling for the tapes before. No one should say a word to her again. I said, well, you know, the agent that played her into saying she was lying when she wasn't. I'm going to upload this.